let's talk about the tariff things now. So
Sure, yes.
the American tariff is already in place. The government of Ontario responded to it. So what is your take on it? That's enough response, and what is the plan? How you going to advocate, and what is the challenge and maybe the benefit you are seeing as the MPP?
Well, I think it's important that we have these retaliatory tariffs and that we stand firm on them and don't change them until the Donald Trump tariffs are completely removed. So, we shouldn't move a little bit if he moves a little bit, because Donald Trump is always moving a little bit and then coming back. So we should just be very firm and say, no tariffs. They all have to be removed, and we're going to keep our tariffs and add on new tariffs on April 2nd. And we're going to do that unless you just remove all of your tariffs. So I think that's the right bargaining stance. Provincially and locally, we just have to be very aware of how our local companies are affected, because we do have some local companies, manufacturing companies especially, that export a lot to the United States. And some of them have manufacturing capacity in the United States, so it's not that hard for them to move. So to be really careful about that, because we would lose those jobs. So in that case, one thing we can do is we can talk to the federal government and say, hey, in the next round, could you target this certain tariff a bit differently to help our local companies? But we also have to make sure that there are whatever, it could be like zero interest loans or support for workers that get laid off, maybe temporarily, because of this uncertainty. I know the federal government has changed some of its EI, employment insurance rules, but the province could also just make sure that it has funds available to protect companies that maybe temporarily have decreased orders. The province can also procure, and one of the things I think Ontario should look at doing, we need housing, right? And I know the province of Ontario, the Ford government has already started thinking about, but not doing anything yet, thinking about modular housing. So this is housing that can be produced in factories, and you just sort of bring the parts and assemble them on site. It has the potential to be able to build a lot of housing more quickly and much more cheaply. And so I think one thing Ontario could do to stimulate our own economy without spending on something that's wasteful is to buy modular housing. And that's something that we have at least two companies that I know of in the Kingston area that build housing in different ways.
Yeah.
And so this is a way that we can stimulate our own economy and maybe even grow new parts to our local economy, and that's buying modular housing.